Thank you. Great to be with everybody. The concept that I want to talk with you about today or share with you today is something that when we were on a call with some of the leaders here at Prime My Body, JT, Paul, Austin, and several of the top amazing leaders from the company. And one of the things that I was sharing with them is because we were going over some of the issues and challenges and what was going on and just the world in general and having to build a business in this environment. And what I told them, and this is what I want to share with you, is that you were built for this. You were built for this. My wife's trying to come in here. So you're built for this moment. And I know that right now we're in a crisis time, but if you look at the Asian word or the Chinese word for crisis, it really has two meanings. It's danger, but also opportunity. And so I think the thing that we need to look at is, yeah, there's some danger out there and we have to be careful. We've all talked about that. You're doing great things to protect yourself and stay safe, but also there's an incredible opportunity. And Austin, can you put my slides up? Can you put those up so that we can share those with everybody? Awesome. So I built a little deck for you here. And so the first one is just the concept that you were built for this. And then go to the second slide, please, Austin. So I looked at the odds of you being born. When you talk about the odds of you even being on this planet, it's pretty incredible. It's 1 in 10, but after the 10, you've got to put 2,640,000 zeros. In other words, you're not supposed to be here. None of us are. I'm not supposed to be here. The odds of us being here are basically 0%. So you're a miracle. And then the next slide, Austin, what are the odds of you being here at Prime My Body? I mean, what are the odds of me being on this call? I tell you what, it went back to 20 some years ago when a guy that used to work for me who lived in Louisville, Kentucky said, hey, there's a guy that's part of a business. Actually, stay back at that one. Yeah. There's a guy that's part of a business that you need to meet. And he said, I think this business could use your help. And I was working with big companies, and he said, you know, this guy's going to be at a meeting, and this was with the former company of Paul's and JT's, and he's going to be at a meeting, and he wants to meet with you after the meeting. So I went down and I waited for him, and he was running late. I almost went home because I'm like, I don't have time to just sit and wait. But I did. I waited like an extra half hour, and I met this guy. And he asked me to come speak at some of their conferences. And through those conferences, I met Paul, I met JT, I met several other people involved in Prime My Body, but this was a different company back then. And I was so impressed with them and their heart and their soul. And so beyond that company 20 years ago, I kept in touch with them. And then this past year, my son decided to get his MBA at a school called Rice University. And so I reached out to JT, and I hadn't talked to JT or been in touch with him on a regular basis, you know, probably in a year or two. And so I reached out to him, and we had lunch or breakfast, I guess it was. And then from there, you know, we struck up our great relationship that we've had for such a long time. And now I'm here on this call with all of you. And so what are the odds of that, though? What are the odds of you being here with Prime My Body? You are here for a reason. My wife is lowering the blinds right now because I guess that I'm not coming across as well as I can. So that's what's happening here off to the side. A little bit of, and they can all see you too, honey. You're on the camera.
Tom, that's a good supporting cast that has
awesome?
your back.
Yeah.
I just want you've got an amazing support infrastructure.
And it's early here, and it's early. This is real life, baby. You're seeing the real life. It's early here in San Diego, or relatively early, so my wife's in her bathrobe back there doing that. But she's amazing, trying to help me out. But what are the odds of us all being on this call? Like, this is crazy that we're all on this call. And so here's the thing. You are here for a reason. This is not an accident that you're with Prime My Body. It's not an accident that you're with Prime My Body in this time of what's going through. It is totally, I believe, on purpose. There's a reason we're all together, to love each other up, to support each other, to ensure that we all not just get through this, but that we thrive. Because remember, crisis is two things. It's danger. Yeah, there's some danger out there, but it's opportunity. And you know why it's opportunity? Because if there weren't the danger, you wouldn't be thinking some of the thoughts you're thinking now about how to up-level your business, how to up-level your mind, how to stop focusing on fear. We would just be going about our days the way that we always do. And then when a crisis hits us, all of a sudden, things get shaken up. The earth moves a little bit. I still remember when I moved out to California. I didn't grow up here, and the first time we had an earthquake, it was pretty interesting, right? It's like, hey, the ground's not supposed to move, and now it's moving. And it just causes you to kind of shift your thoughts a little bit. And so you're here for a reason. You're here to shift your thoughts. You're here to find something in you that has been there your whole life, and now it's saying, get me out of here. Allow me to express myself out into the world. And that's what I want to share with you today. You were built for this moment, and you're built for every moment that's going to come, that's going to challenge you from now on. Go to the next slide, please, Austin. So this next slide, I just want you to think a little bit. How has life prepared you for now? How have the things that you've already gone through prepared you, not just to get through now, but to thrive now? And it reminds me of a story in my life. I think I mentioned on some of the previous calls, when I was 3 years old, my father passed away. And my father-in-law just passed away a couple years ago in our home, which was a fascinating experience too, where you really get to see the power of life and the spirit, how the spirit always lives, even when a body dies. But I want to go back to when I was probably 8 or 9 years old. I had two brothers. When my dad passed away, I was 3. I had a 2-year-old brother, I had a 6-month-old brother. My mom never remarried. She totally focused on us. And she was built for that, right? She was built to be this amazing mom that had to take on all these responsibilities she never thought when she married my dad in her 20s. But she had to. And it was tough on her. And I remember one time I was probably 8 years old, and we had our house, fortunately, because my mom and dad had insurance on the house, where if something happened to my dad, he was an Army officer, it was paid off. And so this house wasn't a very nice house. They bought it for $19,000 a long time ago, but it was paid off. But we didn't have a lot of money. And so my mom was trying to change a light bulb in her shower. We had 2 bathrooms in the house. And so the shower in her bathroom, the light went out, and she was trying to change it. And as she was trying to change it, the bulb broke off. And so now we didn't have money to call anyone to come fix it. Now there's no light in the shower. And I remember her being distraught. She was crying. And I just knew, I don't want my mom to feel this pain. I got to figure this out. Like, I'm 9 years old. I don't know anything about how to get the steel part of the light bulb out of the socket. But you know what? I knew I was going to find a way. And so pretty stupidly, I got some pliers, some needle nose pliers. And fortunately, the light was turned off, I think. But I got this little step ladder, and I got up there, and I started, I bent it, and I started screwing it out with pliers. And then I put another light bulb in. And I didn't even tell my mom I had done it, but I just felt so proud of myself that I'd stepped up. How have you stepped up in your life prior to now, where now you're going to find a way to step up? As a matter of fact, if you know of a way, and I know all of you do, I want you to write it in the chat. Like, be active in this conversation. Write in the chat how you've stepped up at least once in your life, and I'm sure many times in your life. And I want to see that chat filled up with you telling us how you've stepped up. Because when you tell other people in the chat how you've stepped up, you're reminding yourself of what a badass you are and how you are built for this moment. And so 8 years old, I can remember doing that. And I look at the times of my life that have allowed me to have such confidence right now, even though my business is taking a hit. My investments that I have taken big hits, and I'm not afraid. And I'm not just saying that, I'm really not. I don't feel fear because I know that I'm built for this, and I know you're built for this. And we're gonna find ways to use this to evolve ourselves into something bigger and better. And so how has life prepared you for now? I want you to think about that today. What have you already gone through that's made you ready for anything that shows up in life? And that's what I mean when I say you are built for this, okay? So next slide, please, Austin. One of the things I want you to understand, and this is, you have to trust me a little bit on this, because there's plenty of people that are taking a victim mentality right now, and they don't believe life is really serving them. They believe that life is punishing them, punishing all of us with the virus or what's happening in the economy. But the reality is life is always working for you. I do believe that. When we think that it's not working for us, it actually is. You just can't see it yet. So you've got to go on trust. You got to be like the caterpillar. You guys have probably heard the story of how a caterpillar turns into a butterfly, but the caterpillar has to operate totally on trust, because the caterpillar dies to become a butterfly. The caterpillar literally, it goes in the chrysalis, you see it right in the middle there, it goes into that, and what happens is the caterpillar's body turns into a liquid soup. It doesn't exist anymore. It totally transforms, and it takes 5 to 21 days, but through that process, that crisis, if you look at it for the caterpillar, because literally what you see on the left-hand side dies to become what you see on the right-hand side. And so when we look at who we're going to become, part of who we are right now does have to die. Some of the old fears, some of the old beliefs will have to go away for you to emerge out of this crisis into this person that will have a more successful business, will have a higher level of belief and confidence in what you can accomplish, will become an even better leader in everything you do, will become a force for positivity that will shape the lives of many people, will become a person that will be able to make way more money than you've ever made before. That version of you exists within you, but to get there, this crisis had to happen. And part of you will have to be let go of. It will have to die. You'll have to make sure that you're not carrying those parts of you that have existed up till now that have been holding you back. You got to let go of those. So hopefully this is making sense. And I love how you guys are filling up the chat box. That is so awesome. Hopefully we're going to have time too at the end of this for JT to go in there and look for some of the questions you might have that we can answer, because I've got a little bit more content that I want to take you through. And what I want to do now is, but after that content, we're going to have hopefully some time for questions. What I want to do now is I want to share with you 3 things that you can do. And you know me, I always like to, hopefully you've seen this. It's always 3 actions, 3 things you can do to act on what we're talking about now. And we're going to start on the next slide. If you go to, please, Austin. So when you look at the 3 things that I want to encourage you to do, number 1, reduce your exposure to fear. I live in San Diego, and I just went on the internet and I was looking for headlines on the coronavirus, and this is just one that popped up, you know, first death in San Diego, first coronavirus death. Now, listen, that's sad. I get it. But here's the thing. I found myself Monday of this past week, and I consider myself, you know, somebody who has gone through a lot of challenges in my life. I've used those challenges to build my confidence, and I consider myself to be a positive, confident person. And yet on Monday of this past week, I was on my phone. I usually read the Wall Street Journal. Sometimes I read a little ESPN. And what happened was, you know, some article popped up. And so I read this article. It's about the virus. And I'm like, I didn't know all that, right? And I wanted to know enough to be able to have a conversation with somebody. But then there's like a link, and I clicked on another one. I read another article. And then I'm like, another link, okay. Read another article. And then I'm like, holy crap. I don't feel that good. And it was like, some of it was like the symptoms. And then it was like, you have a sore throat. So I think, yeah, I got a little bit of a sore throat, I think. I started taking on this stuff I was reading to the level that I was letting it influence how I was thinking and feeling. Can't do that. And once I realized that I was doing that, I said, all right, time out. Hey, listen, I'm not going to say that it's not out there, but I'm not going to become an expert on the coronavirus, because the more I got involved in reading about it, the more real it became to me. Even though I don't have the symptoms, it's not around me, I don't know anybody personally that's gotten it, and I know some of you do, and it's real in that way to you, and you have to deal with that. I'm not saying we're going to deny it, but we don't have to go seek out every little detail about the coronavirus, because then you make it the thing you're focused on. And that's what I'm saying. Reduce your exposure to fear. Don't watch the news in, you know, moments that you have where you could be doing something more positive. Don't respond, even if an article pops up or somebody sent you something. You have a choice to read it or not read it. Now, if you're feeling super confident, go ahead and read something, but don't get caught up in article after article, discussion after discussion, turning on the news and hearing this expert and that expert and that expert. That will cause you to lose your swagger. That will cause you to lose your confidence. It's just, whatever we're ingesting in is going to take over our brain. So be very careful what you ingest in. That's the first thing that I want to share with you. All right, number 2, Austin, please go to the next slide. The second thing is take charge of how you feel. So number 1, reduce your exposure to things that will make you fearful. Just don't let it come in your mind. Protect your mind. And you go, oh, it's not that big of a deal. No, it's a big deal when you allow yourself to focus and look at and be consumed by all this news. And you got to understand the TV stations, right? The networks, they're making money off the coronavirus. So they're going to put as much out there as they can. It's how they're making tons of money and attracting viewers. And I'm going to ask you not to be one of those viewers that is constantly attracted to that stuff, right? Be the one that decides how you're going to feel by taking charge of how you're going to feel, not by letting some outside source determine how you feel based upon the fear that they're creating in you. So take charge of how you feel. And I think you do need a daily injection of confidence, a daily injection of gratitude, a daily injection of love and empathy for others. I mean, we need to inject ourselves daily, not with an actual syringe, but by reminding ourselves of how to do this. If you haven't, I'm new to Instagram. I can't say I'm great at it, but on Instagram, I've been putting some videos out that if you haven't checked them out, my Instagram is @TheTomMcCarthy. I talk about some things you can do every single day, some little rituals that you can use to take charge of how you feel. I talked about one just the other day about it'll charge your immune system, but also just like wake your tail up in the morning. And it's a little ritual you can do while taking your shower. a little ritual you can do before you even get out of bed, where you get rid of all your fears and anxieties, and you feel gratitude, and you send positive energy out to everybody, and you feel protected. Little rituals that inject yourself with confidence. You don't have to do the ones I'm suggesting, but figure out, you have to have a ritual right now. It's not something that you can just trust will be there. Your confidence is going to be challenged now, and you've got to have a ritual in place every day to inject yourself with a higher level of confidence, because people around you will not give it to you. Most people around you, your Prime My Body family will give a lot of it to you, but most people won't. You've got to have that confidence. You've got to manufacture it. Don't expect yourself to feel confident waking up. I don't even expect myself to do that. I know that I've got to design my day to generate confidence. And so I'm going to challenge all of you to do that. And then I got one more, number 3. So Austin, go to the third thing. You got to step up and lead. And now's the time. People are looking for leaders now. That's why the business opportunity is so exciting. From a financial perspective out there, people are looking for leaders to show them a way to start a business that they actually can succeed in, but also from a community of people that love each other and that care about each other. People are looking for a leader that can show them they can be part of something, where you can come and you can have confidence in uncertain times, where you can grow yourself to a whole nother level. And I think at Prime My Body, that's what we are able to do. Now, are you going to be able to step up and lead and save everybody? No, you won't. And don't look at the ones that don't come along and judge your leadership by that. Look at the ones that are coming along. Look at the ones that are here right now. Look at the ones that come on board tomorrow. Don't look at the ones that end up not being fit for the journey, because we're going to have a fun, exciting, and incredibly challenging journey ahead of us in Prime My Body. And I encourage all of you, don't look at it as a 30-day, 60-day, 90-day. We have to have some short-term goals. We're going to create some short-term wins. But look at this as a 5-year journey, a 10-year journey, a 20-year journey. Who's going to be here 5 years from now? I pray that every single person, as a matter of fact, if you're going to be here 5 years from now, just put it right in the chat box right now. You can count on me being here 5 years from now. I'm going to be here 5 years from now, as long as you guys keep me. I mean, it's up to you to decide if I'm here from 5 years from now, but I'm going to fight to be with this company 5 years from now. Because I want to be, what's that?
Yeah, Tom, you're going to be here 5 years from now, 10 years from now. We're going to take you on the journey till you're called home.
All right. Well, I'm committed, and I hope you guys are, because what we're going to do, not just over 30 days, 60 days, over the course of the year, but we're going to do 5 years from now. But it takes a mindset where you're willing to go through more crises, more challenges, because the virus is one. Over the course of the next 5 years, we're going to have other stuff come up. But I'm committed. I truly am committed. And so I hope you guys have that level of commitment. I want to end with something that I always like to do. And Austin, if you could please go to my last slide. The last thing I want you to really think about, and I want you to truly write something down. It doesn't have to be in chat. You could do it on a piece of paper, but what's your plan? It's going to come down to the rituals that you create in your day. Doing something once, like saying, all right, today I'm not going to get absorbed into the news of the coronavirus, that's fine. That's going to make today great. But if you go right back to tomorrow because you don't have a ritual around that, right? You go right back to exposing yourself to that. It's almost like what you did today gets negated. So what rituals will you use to reduce your exposure to fear, to take charge of how you feel, to step up and lead? Rituals are what become your habits. And I want you to write something down. This is a great quote. Actually, my wife sent it to me just yesterday, the day before. And I'm going to try and remember it, but it was something like, when there's a gap between your goals and your habits always win. So when there's a goal when there's a gap between what you want and what your rituals are leading you to, your rituals or your habits will always win. You'll always fall short. So you need to make sure that your rituals are powerful enough to get you to where you want to go. And most people don't think through. They don't consciously create their rituals. The rituals are just kind of what they've done over time, how they show up. There's no conscious creation of how they're going to show up. And I'm going to ask you to be that less than 0.1% of people on the planet that are consciously designing their life. And here's 3 ways you can do it today. So thanks again, everybody. If you have questions, I'd love to answer a few. JT, you might have a few questions, but again, what an honor being on with everybody.
Tom, before we go into the questions, we had a special guest that stopped by my house, and this person was looking for product. So I just wanted to get a chance to bring him on.
Okay, cool. Whoa, whoa.
Tom, it is I, the luchador. I wanted to tell the Prime My Body family that I came by to see JT to get the focus. I've got to build the immune system. I also, underneath this mask, is a lot of beauty. So I wanted to get the knocks. I wanted to get the knocks to put on my face because I have a beautiful, beautiful face underneath this mask. It's not a punch to the face or a pile driver to the face, but it's knocks to the face. I also, during this time, I like self-care. The moisturizer at night. I love to put this on because, Tom, it is absolutely important that you understand that the luchador likes to take care, self-care. I also needed to pick up a sample. This sample that I had to pick up was to give to my friend because I'm also building a business inside of Prime My Body. So I got stuck here. I was in Mexico, but I came to wrestle in Houston, Texas, because the greatest fans in the world for wrestling are in Houston, Texas. But I just want to tell everybody at Prime My Body that it's important for you to understand that you have to lead. Coach Tom is telling you very important information. It is very important for you to understand this. It's not a punch to the face or the power driver to the face, but it is the knowledge that is in your face. So, Coach T, I'm here with JT, and I just wanted to tell you that today. Thank you. You're doing an amazing job.
Thank you so much for showing up. Hey,
well, Tom, I couldn't believe that the luchador came by. I mean, it's amazing. It was perfect timing.
And you're seeing him out right now, and you'll be back on camera in just a second.
Oh, he's got to run. He can't be here at this very moment. He had to run out the door. But man, I was so excited for him to get, the product he needed. It's so important that, as we go through life, that we got people around us that can absolutely help us, to really be the best that we can be. And I like the luchador. The luchador comes out. He's here to visit. He's here for us. The luchador is praying for you. He's here for you. So
I love
my body, man. Woo, the luchador using our products.
I like how you and the luchador both have that same bracelet on your right hand.
I gave him one. I gave him one. As a matter of fact, I've got it in Mexico, and I gave it to him earlier this week, Tom. Tom, we love to have fun. We love to, it's a very serious time that we're in, but man, we got to laugh more. My big deal is this. You want to build up the immune system? Laugh. You want to build up the immune system? Have a positive attitude. You want to build up the immune system? Make sure that daily you're doing something that you can either laugh with others, laugh at yourself, even laugh at yourself. That's an important key to this. But Tom, some of the questions I have, over here, and by the way, I just want to read a few, man. There was some really cool stuff in here that people are talking about in things they've done and how courageous they are.
I see in the Q&A, and if someone wants to answer or wants to ask question, the Q&A might be, because the chat, there's tons in there. But in the Q&A, one of the questions from Khalil or Cahill, I'm not sure how to say his name, but how can we do more when some have a set mindset and won't hear when we offer ideas to benefit each other? And so what you're going to find in life is you're going to find resistance to any great idea, and what we used to say at Tony Robbins was whenever you get two machines or two human beings together, the person with the highest level of certainty usually prevails. And so when you go into a conversation and your certainty is not that high, and then you get challenged by somebody who has, who doesn't believe in what you're saying or has a negative predisposition towards what you're saying, if your certainty is not strong, you're going to buckle or you're going to show nervousness or anxiety, and they're going to overtake you. And then you're going to go back and go, what, am I even right to be doing this? You've got to get your certainty to a very high level. That's what, I talk about, that daily shot of confidence. And when you go in, you've got to have 4 or 5 reasons of why you believe you've got a great opportunity. Now, that might not absolutely influence that person, but I want you to at least know that when you're done, you did not lower your certainty. And if you go into every situation with that type of mindset, you're going to find people coming your way, because people are looking for certainty right now. They are. And you've got something you should have absolute certainty in. I mean, the worst thing that could happen to anybody in our business is they have some amazing products that are going to help them or people that they sell them to or give them to. That's the worst thing that can happen if they get involved with us. And that's pretty doggone good. So you should have high levels of certainty. And when you're not succeeding, when you're going out and talking to your friends and inviting, I would challenge you to take a look at your certainty. Because if your certainty is high enough, people are going to be willing to change how they feel to get some of that certainty that you have. People are looking for certainty, and so raise your level of certainty, and you're going to find more people coming your way. That's why JT is so successful. He's got 1,000% certainty. There's nothing anyone could say that would back him off the belief he has in what he's out offering. And I know some of you are newer in the business. JT hasn't probably always had that, but over time, taking the hits, he's just created more certainty. Versus more people, they take a hit, they create more doubt. So lean into taking the hits, lean into people challenging you, and just increase your certainty more and more. You'll find yourself succeeding. That's a critical recipe for you to succeed, though.
Tom, I was going through the last 3 days. I've been thinking about this a lot. This has been a big time on my mind. If we as a culture within our own company really thought about the things that hold us back, and we just got those out of the way in the beginning. These are the reasons why I quit things. These are the reasons why I stopped doing things. These are the reasons why I haven't had success. And we dig back into things. This person, inflated my excitement. This person didn't help me, with the things that I was trying to accomplish. This family member wasn't very nice to me. All these different things are things that, as we go through and things that we're doing, it's the process of each individual owning what it is that's going to stop you from building. And I'll never forget when you made me write that on that board and circle it, and I had to break through that board. That was one of the big things that I remember early on in this industry was, what are the things that absolutely on a daily basis am I locking myself into why this isn't going to work? Am I getting overwhelmed? Is it tough? I had a leader one time that's Czech, and this is a great story, and you can think about it in your own life. But I had a leader one time that's Czech, went to in another company about 15 years ago. They were building a business, and the compensation plan of their check went down. I mean, I'm talking down to nothing. And they came in and he said, hey, can you come over and do a training for me? So I flew to South Carolina. I did a training for this individual. And Tom, 6 months later, his check went from almost nothing to a very, very substantial. If you annualize it out, he was at $1 million a year, and he was making commissions on a weekly basis that were phenomenal. And what he said to me later was, he said, I used the motivation of having you come in and train. Mm-hmm. And I used that motivation to tell my guys, you know what, that guy's not any better than any of us, but he's playing at a higher level than we are. Mm-hmm. And I'll never forget that, because he's gone on to become a very successful, 7-figure earner. He's been very successful in business. But I go back to that moment because he had a decision to make at that very moment. He didn't have the environment that we're in right now at all, but he made a decision, and that decision helped that individual to go from here to here literally overnight. There are people that are going to take this opportunity to become the top leaders in this company. There will be people that catapult themselves into the next leadership of this company, and that'll step up and say, you know what, I'm here to build, I'm here to lead. So that's my thought on this. If you could, you've seen that in so many different areas of business and life as well. Could you add on to that as well?
Yeah. So, well, I mean, I'm gonna give you another example. I tell this story sometimes, like, and some people remember it, some don't. I don't like watching people fight. I've never been in an actual fight, right? I mean, I played football in college and stuff, but I don't like violence. But anyways, there was a very, very famous fight many years ago. There was a guy, you probably heard of him, even if you don't follow boxing. His name is Mike Tyson, right? And they called Mike Tyson the baddest man on the planet. And he was scary. Like, boxers would come out, and they were good boxers, but they would come out and literally within one round, they'd be knocked out, and sometimes within seconds. And a lot of it was just because they would go in there just already thinking, I'm going to lose to this guy, right? I'm not going to win. And then there was a boxer that came along. His name was Evander Holyfield. He was a little undersized compared to Tyson. And he had known Tyson from, they were both, actually Holyfield was Olympic gold medalist. Tyson was trying out for the Olympic team, but didn't make it or something like that earlier on. But he knew of Tyson, and he always thought Tyson was a bully. And he knew, and he didn't like bullies. And he knew if he got a chance to fight Tyson, he was going to win. Now, when he got the chance to fight Tyson, they took a poll of all the experts in boxing, and virtually every single expert in boxing, and I mean all of them, said Tyson's going to win. We just don't know how quickly he will defeat Evander Holyfield. So everybody believed Tyson was going to win. Oh, excuse me, not everybody. One person, the most critical person, did not believe that, and that was Evander Holyfield. And so he went in, and he goes in this fight, and Tyson comes at him the way he comes at everybody, just like viciousness, and hit him with every shot he could give. Stuff that made virtually every other boxer that he had ever boxed quit. And yet, what did Evander Holyfield did? He just kept coming. And at some point in time, and this is what you got to do. This is what JT has done. At some point in time, Tyson, he said, the thought in my head was, I don't think I can beat this guy, because Holyfield was like, he's going to have to kill me to beat me, right? I will not stop. And that's what it takes in business. You really have to almost have this belief system that I will not stop. I have several friends that are Navy SEALs, and they put them through this training where the training is intended to make them quit. And the ones that make it through, basically the belief system they have to take on is that you're going to have to kill me to make me quit, right? Because I am just in this. I will find a way to succeed. And when you have that type of attitude in life, life then starts to show you the way. But if you're dipping your toe in the water, seeing if it's warm, is it warm enough to jump in, right? Life doesn't give you those opportunities to succeed. It's the person that just dives in and said, look, I'm in the water. Whatever it takes, I'm going to do it. And ask yourself, are you at that point right now? Are you, JT calls himself Mr. All In. Are you at that level? And you go, well, yeah, it's easy for JT. He's making more money. No, he's making more money because that's the attitude he had that got him to where he is. He literally cut off the exits. And if you look at the great things you've accomplished, I know if I look at the great things I think I've accomplished, it's because I put my back to the wall and I didn't have anywhere else I was going to allow myself to go except find a way to succeed. And not out of scarcity, but just out of belief that I just feel like inside of all of us, and I felt like inside of me, there's got to be a way to find a way to succeed. And I'm going to find that way. And so, that's the story I like to tell about it. And you're a great example of that. And so many people in this company are a great example of that. And actually, every single one of you on this call is a great example of that in some area of your life. Now, maybe you haven't done that yet in Prime My Body, but you've done that in other parts of your life where you just did not quit and you found a way to win. And so that's what I hope you'll get out of today. I mean, this crisis or this virus is just, it's shaking things up enough, I think. We're even more motivated to find a way to win now. At least I am.
Yep.
I don't, it's like I don't welcome this, but I also thrive in it. I thrive when we're in times like this.
Tom, I agree 100%. And I'm going to have Austin come on here in just a second. But let me give you real quick the names. If you'll email Brian at Prime My Body, Brian at Prime My Body, BRIAN, Brian. Andrew Blackmore, Karen and Wendy, Carrie Donahue, Sarah McNaughton, and Annie Satri. Annie, if you will send a message into Brian, you are the winners today. And one international winner today on this phone call is Hollis Bailey over there in Cabo. By the way, I can't wait to get back to Cabo. Can't wait to get back to that great, amazing restaurant that you took us to with your father and your husband. And by the way, I saw the video the other day of your husband catching the fish. He is the fish whisperer for sure. But Austin, as you've listened to this, we're coming down to the end here. As you're listening to this, anything that you'd like to comment, ask Tom. But what an amazing day. We've got a call here in 13 minutes specifically on building, specifically on sharpening your sword to build. So we got some building things that we'll be talking about at the noon hour. It'll be a tight 30-minute call. But Austin, take it away with Tom McCarthy.
Tom, great job today, man.
Thanks, Austin.
I think you already know that there's hundreds and hundreds of comments. I think I answered all of the Q&As. I say that now one came in while you and JT were talking. Carrie, I'll go ahead and answer yours. When will Paul's be out? That's the pet line. That's actually on the line right now. When I say it's on the line, labels are being put on the bottles. So I don't know the exact date, but really soon. So if labels are being put on, formula's done, bottles are being filled. So I just expect maybe an update on our Monday night leadership call from Paul.
Also, the packages go up on Monday. So they'll be back up on Monday. I got that from Mary.
Okay, so you'll be able to order on Monday. And for those of you who want to join JT and I here in just a second, the number for that call, because people are asking, is 712-432-4604. And the code that you'll use to dial in for that call is 77463. So I'm actually going to type that in real quick before I ask Tom one last question. 712-432-4604. And the code is 77463. There you go. I just sent that to everyone on. Actually, I didn't. I sent that to just me and JT and Tom. Now it's sent to everybody. Tom, man, I appreciate everything you said today. I think my favorite thing is two things that stick out. The first is, you said something, being reminded that you're a badass and that you're designed to take a hit. To me, that's an empowering statement to hear. I can remember When I was younger, I wanted, my anxiety came when things weren't good.
Mm-hmm.
And I was constantly pursuing a life of, I wouldn't say perfection, but a life without discomfort or pain.
Yeah.
It was actually early in my business career, my early 20s. And when I began to accept that not only that was a way of it, but it's to be expected, especially if you're pursuing growth, it was all, I wouldn't say it was something I got thrilled or excited about, but it kind of let me know I was on the right path.
Mm-hmm.
If it's uncomfortable, probably means that on the other side of that, I'm going to shed some of that skin, kind of like your caterpillar and butterfly analogy, even though this metamorphosis is difficult for my identity and it hurts and it's not thrilling at the moment. On the other end of it, man, I'm becoming more of who it is I'm called to be. I loved hearing you say that. I could relate to that personally so much. There's, in my opinion, hearing you talk about the difference between habits and goals. It's one thing to set a goal, but as you so eloquently put it, and I'll paraphrase it in my best way possible, habits are actually what help you create it. And it's those little things every single day that compound. That's such a powerful statement. And to me, it speaks to, this macro patience, micro hustle. Like my ultimate weapon is patience, but every single day I'm going to hustle my ass off and I'm going to do the things every single day to create it. Would you mind speaking to that one more time and kind of landing the plane for us as we wrap up the call? I think that's such a powerful mindset for us to all walk away from this phone call having.
Yeah, you said two really profound things, I think, that I want to kind of just talk to at the end here. So the first one was that you talked about wanting a life of ease and comfort, right? Which most people think that's what they want. I know that's what I thought I wanted too. I was growing up, all I wanted was someone to take care of my family. Like, why can't someone just give us a bunch of money so that my mom's not crying and we've got enough to eat and we're happy, and I thought that would be the ideal, but it's just not. And if you look at like people that retire, they work and then they can't wait till they retire and they think it's going to be a life of ease and comfort, and then what happens is they stop challenging themselves, they lose their purpose, and they don't live very long. They die. And if you want a little experiment of how exciting a life of just total ease and comfort is, go on your phone and because I've done this. I don't really play many games, but I was playing checkers, I think, on the phone years ago, and I didn't realize it comes set up as on the easy level, because you can do easy, kind of medium, difficult, and it was set up on the easy level. And so I'm winning every time. And at first I'm thinking, wow, I'm a really good checker player. And then I'm like, God, this is so boring. It's like you win every time you play. This sucks. And it really was boring. And then, now it's not fun when you go all the way to, unless you're ready for it, right? You raise the difficulty level to like medium, and now you don't always win. As a matter of fact, you don't even win probably half the time. But when you win, you get a sense of accomplishment and you get to kind of struggle. And that's what we all enjoy. You've heard people say it and you go, oh, yeah, I've heard that a million times. But the journey is what we really enjoy. Typically, when you get what you're looking for, there's some satisfaction for a little bit, and then that fades. But what you remember is the journey, the kind of person you became. So that's the first thing I think. We're not really built for just a life of ease and comfort. So don't want that too much. Want a little bit of challenge in your life that you can grow through. Now, it doesn't have to be the virus type challenge all the time, but a little bit of stuff that you got to think through, a problem you can solve, someone you can help. That's what we're built for. That's what we're all built for. Enjoy it. Milk the crap out of these times and get the most out of it. And then the second thing that you said that was really awesome was you said macro patience and micro hustle. The other thing that we all want in our lives, or we think we want, is we learn something and then we do it and then we want to see immediate results. And does anyone remember the movie Something About Mary? Super funny movie.
Yeah.
And the guy that came up with like the 7-minute abs, right? Because there was like 20-minute abs and Something About Mary goes, I got this new product, 7-minute ab or 5-minute abs. He goes, well, no, there's already a 20-minute abs. Exactly. Mine you get in 5 minutes. And that's what, I mean, everyone's marketing to us that, no, you can get it quicker. And you can. In some ways, you can get things a little quicker. But there's always lag time. There's a time before you start something, like these 3 things that I gave you today. They'll have some impact on you today, but you won't recognize the true impact until you do it for a couple weeks or a month. And then you look back and go, whoa. And here's the challenge. Most people, they do it for a day. They don't see enough impact and they go, I'm just going to go back to my old ways. I would encourage you to take Austin's philosophy, patience. Understand there's lag time between the time you start a process and the time you really see results. There's time that has to pass. And you know why time has to pass? Because you got to change. You got to grow into being able to handle those results, right? And that's why we need the rituals. I think I said on the last call, the house we had, not the house we're in now, but the house we had a couple houses ago, we bought from a lottery winner that had not grown into those results. They got made millions off the lottery, had not grown themselves into that, and the millions were gone pretty quickly. So we have to grow into this better life that you're looking for. We have to grow into being a better leader. We have to grow into making more money. It can happen quick, but you've got to accelerate the process by doing lots of things that you weren't doing yesterday. You got to start doing today, and then trust the process and know that anything you want, you can absolutely achieve. Just, you got to have the rituals in place over time to create the habits, and it absolutely will happen for you. Love you guys. Thank you again for having me on. Thanks for letting me be part of this amazing team.
Tom, you were awesome today. Take the time to read through the comments if you want to know, man. Everyone's so fired up. They love the content, and I know how valuable this is to everybody, regardless of what season we find ourselves in. So it's funny. You said something. I'll end the call with this. I think it's perfect. An author that I love named Graham Hancock, he does a lot of research on ancient civilizations. He brought a book out about 10 years ago, and I sent him an email, and he wrote me a letter back, and he put a little sticker in there for me to put inside the book. And the quote he wrote on there is, "The journey is the destination." And that's something I'll never forget. And hearing you talk reminded me of that. So I appreciate you so much, Tom, and thanks for being on. And I know everybody else does too.
Have an amazing day, everybody. Really make this a special day. Go out and help some people, go out and love some people up, help raise the certainty, the energy level of people around you, whether it's people in your home or people you can reach out to today, and let them know about the great things that we're all doing here with Prime My Body.
Awesome. See you guys on our noon call in 2 minutes. Aloha. Have a great day.